Have you ever wondered how one tiny baby could change the fate of a nation? How a helpless child floating in a basket could one day stand before a king? Today we begin the story of Moses, God's chosen deliverer. A journey of fear and courage of slavery, and freedom of doubt and faith. This is not just his story. It could be yours too. Long ago in the land of Egypt, Pharaoh ruled with a heart of stone. His cities glittered with gold, but beneath that shine the Hebrew people suffered. They were not citizens, they were slaves. Forced to make bricks from mud and straw, they groaned under the weight of chains and cried out to the God of their fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Pharaoh watched the Hebrews multiply and grow strong. He feared an uprising, and so he gave a command soaked in cruelty. Every newborn Hebrew boy must be thrown into the Nile. But one mother, Jochebed, could not obey. She held her newborn son close to her chest. His skin was soft, his eyes wide with wonder. "This child is special," she whispered. "God, help me protect him." For 3 months, she hid him. Every creak of a door, every shout from the street made her heart race. What if the soldiers came? What if they heard his cry? When she could hide him no longer, Jochebed crafted a basket from reeds. She sealed it with pitch to keep it dry, and with trembling hands she laid her baby inside. She didn't know what would happen next, but she prayed, "Lord, if you have a plan, now is the time." She placed the basket gently into the Nile. The river that Pharaoh meant for death now became a path for life. Her daughter, Miriam, followed from the shore. She peeked from behind reeds, never losing sight of the basket. The water carried it past crocodiles, past fishermen, all the way to Pharaoh's palace gardens. There, Pharaoh's daughter came to bathe. She spotted the basket. Her servants brought it to her. She opened it and gasped. Inside was a crying baby boy, tiny fists, tear-filled eyes. "This must be a Hebrew child," she said, but instead of fear, her heart filled with compassion. "I will raise him as my own." Just then, Miriam stepped forward. "Would you like me to find a nurse to care for him?" The princess smiled. "Yes, please do." And Miriam ran faster than ever before to fetch her mother. Jochebed held her baby again, safe, alive, in the very place where Pharaoh had meant harm. God brought deliverance. Moses grew up in the palace. He wore silks, dined with princes, and learned Egypt's secrets. But in quiet moments, he remembered his mother's lullabies. He remembered her stories of the one true God. And he knew, "I do not belong to Pharaoh's house. I am a child of Israel." Sometimes he would visit the Hebrew workers. He saw the scars on their backs, the pain in their eyes. And he began to ask, "Why was I spared? What does God want from me?" One day he saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew man. Rage surged in Moses' heart. He looked around, no one in sight. And in anger he struck the Egyptian. The man fell and never rose again. Moses buried him in the sand. But the next day, when he tried to stop 2 Hebrews from fighting, one turned and said, "Are you going to kill me like you did the Egyptian?" Fear gripped Moses. The secret was out. Pharaoh heard of it and sought to kill him. Moses fled. He ran into the desert, unsure of where to go. Days passed, his royal clothes tore, his feet blistered. But God had not forgotten him. In the land of Midian, Moses rested by a well. There he saw shepherd girls being harassed. He stood up, defended them, and drew water for their sheep. The girls returned home and told their father, Jethro. Jethro invited Moses to stay. In time, Moses married Zipporah, one of the daughters, and had a son. He became a shepherd, and for 40 years he lived in quiet. But deep down, he still wondered, was I meant for something more? One day, as he watched his sheep near Mount Horeb, he saw something strange. A bush, burning but not consumed. He stepped closer. A voice thundered. "Moses, Moses," he answered. "Here I am." "Take off your sandals. The ground you stand on is holy." It was the voice of the Almighty God. "I have seen the suffering of my people. I have heard their cries, and I am sending you to bring them out of Egypt." Moses trembled. "But who am I?" he asked. "I'm not a speaker. I'm not brave." But God replied, "I will be with you." And in that moment, everything changed. Moses, once a baby in a basket, once a prince, once a shepherd, was now God's chosen deliverer. What can we learn from Moses? Sometimes God's plan starts with small, quiet beginnings. Sometimes it takes years in the desert to prepare us. But no matter who you are or where you've been, God can call you. You may feel weak, afraid, unimportant. But remember, Moses did too. And yet, God used him to change history. God is still calling, still rescuing, still using ordinary people for extraordinary things. And don't forget to join us in episode 2, as Moses returns to Egypt, stands before Pharaoh, and speaks 4 powerful words that shook a kingdom. "Let my people go."